Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how I created this simple one-layer card using minimal products. Today I'm going to be using this stamp set from Simon Says Stamp called Big Birthday Greetings. I just love all of these sentiments in here. They're great centerpieces for simple cards that you can knock out in no time. So I'm just starting out with some Canson watercolor paper here. You don't necessarily have to use watercolor paper. I just chose to use it because I had a lot on hand, and I'm going to be doing just a little bit of watercoloring, not a lot, so you could get away with just using some regular Neenah. I'm just lining up this big sentiment into the center of my cardstock here, and I'm using some VersaFine ONYX black ink. I really like this ink when I'm not using any Copics or anything like that because it's a really crisp dark ink, and I really like using it on big bold sentiments like this. And I show here that I am stamping down 2 cards. I did create 2 cards. They were exactly the same, so I decided just to show you the creation of one in its entirety. But again, this card is really easy to do. You could easily multiply this card and have a bunch for your stash. I planned on doing that myself. I ended up making 4 cards using this same technique, and I'm so glad that I did because I've always got people asking me for birthday cards. So I'm glad I've made a bunch of these, and it was really easy, about 20 minutes in total to create this card. So I just stamped both of those sentiments down, and I used some Simon Says Stamp Cleaner to clean that off. I really like doing that with black inks and red inks just to make sure that my stamps are nice and clean. I took an additional sentiment that says, and eat some cake, just to add to the greeting. I felt like it, get a little chuckle out of some people. And I really like it, just kind of grounds the whole piece. And I did the same on the other card base as well. And once I get all the stamping done, we're going to go through and we're going to stamp out some birthday candles. I had this, I've seen Christina Warner use this stamp set before. I'm not really sure, it was a couple years ago. And she did a lot of cards with this stamp set as well. And I thought about doing, like candles all the way around it. Kind of like framing it up, but I thought that might be too much, so I just decided to do kind of like staggered candles underneath. And I'm going to speed through this process because it's pretty much the same. I'm using the same VersaFine ONYX black ink because like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be doing a little bit of watercoloring, and this ink is water resistant, or it works well with water. So you can see here I just sped up this process, and I just staggered the candles around the bottom of these sentiments here. And I really wanted it to kind of, I didn't want it to go all the way around because I felt like it was too much, because I'm going to add some splattering to the top later. And I felt like this was a really, clean and, I guess you can't really call it clean and simple because there's a lot going on. But to me, I think it's a simple card. My husband actually helped me with the layout of this card. He said, just do them along the bottom and, color them in or something. So he kind of helped me get this card just right, and I really like the way that it turned out. Super simple and easy. Anybody could create this card. You don't necessarily have to have this particular stamp set, but you could use it with any large sentiment greeting like this and any candle stamps, or it doesn't necessarily have to be candles. You could frame it up with maybe flowers or anything along those lines. So really great card idea, really simple. So I just hit it with my heat gun just to make sure that it was good and dry because this is a pigment ink. And I'm just taking out some of my Distress Oxide inks here to do some rainbow coloring. Now I don't have an orange color yet, so I just decided to mix the Squeezed Lemonade and the Candied Apple together to create an orange. And I just have them stamped out onto my Art Impressions water palette here. And I'm just taking a little bit of water, getting these inks wet, and just painting them right on this card base here. And like I said, this was super easy. You don't necessarily have to paint them. You could do Copic coloring, you could do colored pencil, you could leave them blank, you could do them on colored cardstock and cut them out. Whatever you wanted to do here. I just decided to do rainbow coloring because I felt like that was kind of just what I wanted to go for. I didn't really have a thought process. I just kind of went with it. And I had to count to make sure I actually had to write down like Roy G. Biv to make sure I got the rainbow order in order because I always end up getting it wrong. So like I mentioned before, this card, super easy, and I really had a lot of fun creating it. That's why I made a bunch. I ended up making quite a few actually. So again, I just mixed those two colors together, the Candied Apple and the Squeezed Lemonade, to get a nice orange color. I'm going to go ahead and speed through the painting here. It's kind of a repetitive in nature, and I just, like I said, went through with the rainbow colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And that's the basis of the coloring here. That's, like I mentioned, super easy and simple. I know I keep repeating myself over and over again, but I can't stress enough that anybody can create this card. Minimal supplies, one stamp set, and you've got birthday cards for days. Once I had all of those colored in, I kind of hit them with my heat gun a little bit, and then I took out my Art Philosophies metallic colored watercolor set, and I'm taking one of the golds from the set, and I'm going to color in the candle tops. Now, you could just color them in yellow and then maybe go over with like a, like a shimmer pen or something like that, but I really wanted these to kind of glisten and glow like a candle would. So I'm just coloring in the tops. I wasn't too worried about, if I stayed in the lines or, whichever. They're flickering candles. Candles don't stay in lines. So super easy, and you could use any metallic watercolor set that you like. Again, you don't have to use watercolors. You could just paint them in yellow and red to make them look like candles, to, simplify the process with using less materials. I tried to use as minimal products as possible, sticking with one stamp set, minimal ink colors, and just try to keep it simple. I have a tendency to do cards that are really complex, and I decided to just get back to basics and try to do something really, really simple. The next thing I did is I took that same gold color and I really watered it down so it was really loose, and I took one of my acrylic blocks and painted on the edge here, and I just flicked it off to get some splatter on the top, and I really felt like this rounded it out. I was a little bit concerned that it was too boring up at the top. Again, I have a tendency to make cards a little bit over the top, so keeping it simple was really hard for me. And this, I think, just really added to it. I showed it to my husband, and he was like, yeah, that looks great. He says, that's awesome. And I thought about doing like a black card base, and I thought, no. So I just decided to go with this craft color card. This is some Neenah Desert Storm 100-pound cardstock, and I really like the way that this looks against all of those bright colors. It's nice neutral. And I took another sentiment from the inside to stamp on the inside of my card. I took the happy birthday and you don't look a day over the age you told me you were. I think that's what it was. I really thought that was funny. It made me chuckle. So I just took out my Simon Says grid sheet here to help me line these up nice and straight. I apologize if my head gets in the way. I just wanted to make sure that these were really, really straight, since they're the only thing on the inside of this card, and you will notice if it's crooked. And I'm just using the same ONYX black ink that I've been using the entire time. Again, I've been trying to use up minimal materials. Same inks, same stamp set, super easy. I'm going to get that stamped down, and then we can assemble this card. I'm really, really excited because I am starting my Christmas in July series this week. It's going to be starting on Thursday. I have got all the cards ready to go, all the videos ready to go, and I can't wait to share them with you. I was so excited to create this series, and if you haven't already subscribed and hit the notification bell, go ahead and do that so you don't miss out on those videos. I'm going to be posting a Christmas video once a week for the whole month of July. So back to this card, just finishing it up. I wanted to cut it down just a little bit to just kind of give it a nice frame with that khaki colored cardstock. And I'm just taking the Waffle Flowers Nested A2 dies, and I'm just going to cut this panel out just so I have a nice frame around. And that one candle I had stamped, you could see the bottom of the candle, and I didn't really like that, so this kind of helped me kind of trim that off. And I really like these dies. I've wanted to get them for a while because I have a fear of my trimmer, so I don't really like using it as much as I need to, so these dies are really, really helpful. I'm just using some Tombow glue to attach this down, and you could use tape runner, you could use anything that you wanted. You could pop this up if you wanted to give it a little bit of dimension, but I just decided to keep it simple and attach it nice and flat so it was really easy to mail. And I'm really excited that I got this new grid mat to help me line things up. And of course I had to add one small thing to round out this card. I took some Nuvo crystal drops in ebony black just to add a little bit of something else. And that will do it for my card for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stick around for the Christmas in July series and hit the like button if you like this video. And I'll see you guys again real soon. Bye! On screen, I've got a few videos that I think you'll enjoy. Consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more videos at my YouTube channel.